Well, guys, welcome back. You've been in Burundi for a week and did phase 2 training, but you, I think, found out that phase 2 should have been phase 1. Is that correct?
Yeah. We found out that really this guy didn't know the basics, so we were like, yeah, this is really phase 1 instead of phase 2. That doesn't make sense to take them to phase 2 when they have no idea. Yeah.
So why don't you give me some give me some highlights. David, why don't we start with you? Why don't you give me your biggest highlight there in Burundi?
Yeah, I think one of my highlights was when we were teaching this material to the church of Pastor called Nehemiah on the Sunday that I arrived, and he said, you know what, we want to hear this more. So we are organizing a pastor's fellowship so that you can come and teach to us. Nehemiah is one pastor who is not conformed to the world, and he is against all the preaching for people to be rich, but not to work for Christ. And we found him that he has not been trained theologically, but his theology seems to be very much biblical. And he kept on telling us, please come. So we had to go to preach one of his praise and worship team. We again went to teach in the Java prayers meeting, where we had around 100 people coming for prayers meeting. And on the last day, on Sunday, he said, you have to come and teach us. We don't want to be preached. Come, you and Ronnie, and just come and teach us. So on that Sunday, we had around 100 to 150 people, and we were teaching them about maturing the bride. And he said, this is the right gospel that we need to hear.
Amen. And this is in the capital city?
Yes, that was in the capital city, Bujumbura.
And where you were training was about 2 hours away, 3 hours away?
Yes, we were training up mountains around 2 hours drive away, where we went for 4 days.
Okay. And Ronnie, talk, what was your greatest highlight?
Well, my greatest highlight was, so we're here, we're training, and this pastor, the host pastor, he stops us in the middle.
Now you're talking about the meeting up in the mountains, right?
Now the meeting at the meeting in the mountains where we're training the pastors, and we're busy teaching, and he's like, you guys wait a moment. How do we even get to read the Bible? We don't understand the Bible. And towards that was very emotional to us, because this is these guys, even though they're in the village, they're not leading 100 people. They're about 500, 800 people, and we're like, wow. But this is interesting that a pastor who has been pastoring for this long and pastoring this amount of people, he's honest to say, we don't know how to read the Bible. How do we even get to read and understand the Bible?
Now, I want to make sure I'm understanding. They can physically read, right?
Yes, they can physically read, but understanding whatever they are reading, it's the problem. So so we had to get down again out to the real basics, because we couldn't. How do you even continue to teach people that cannot even understand? So that was very emotional to us, and we had to now go in and teach them, hey, how do you read the Bible in context? Not just running with just a verse. So we had to do that, and in that, again, as we were still continuing, this guy said, do you know what? Our families are failing. Yes, we know theology, but our family, well, it's not that we know theology, but yeah, we do church. But our families are failing. Our kids are failing. How do we even get to balance ministry and family? We're like, whoa, okay. We didn't prepare for this, but it was good to see them vulnerable. Now, these guys, what we got to understand that the first theological and the last theological, Bible college that was there in that area was there in 1993. So they haven't had any
Gospel.
it was a missionary college, but they haven't had any theological training since 1993. So that's how tough it was. And
and that's when the Civil War broke out.
Yes, and that's when the Civil War broke out. Yeah.
So they had Civil War from 93 to 2005, was it?
5. Yes, 2005.
So they're only less than 20 years away from Civil War, so they're still rebounding from that.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you go basically to phase 1, or what did you do? I mean, what were you teaching them?
Well, basically we almost taught on phase 1 because we realized that they were still very behind on terms of theological understanding. So we started all the way with the multiplication and all the way on showing them the importance of multiplication. And they were saying, I think now this is the church that Jesus left, that we should not be inside here, but we should be outside there. So we taught the one on multiplication. We taught on Christ looking for mature bride. Will every Christian be part of the bride? Yeah, basically we taught the whole phase 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of these pastors you said led a church of 800 or 1,000? Is that right?
Yeah. The host pastor.
The host pastor. Is there a WhatsApp group set up? Are you plans on going back? I mean,
well, before I check on that, I'm reminded on this day when we were going back from the training, and Emmanuel, when we reached at the hotel, Emmanuel told me that, what Pastor Victor was saying. Pastor Victor was the host, is that this is the material that we should be teaching. This is the truth of the Bible. And I wonder why we were not taught this kind of material by anybody. So for me, that was a great thing, because every time we were driving back, they were having a chat. And they are speaking in Kirundi, we didn't understand. But Emmanuel was telling me that they were always talking about how the material is changing them fast in their heart, even before thinking of preaching. So to come to your question, yes, we are thinking of going back there, but this time we are thinking to go back with our family, because if the church is standing and the family is breaking, the ministry wouldn't work. So there was a lot of cries from the men and the women, because when we were teaching, they would ask a question, which basically goes back to parenting and how to live and still have a life as a Christian. And so we aim to answer them biblically. So we are planning, God willing, that we can go back with our family, so that as we impact these pastors on the unveiling glory material, we can still impact them on parenting for God's glory.
Okay, and so is Emmanuel going to be your key leader in the country, or you think it might be somebody else?
Well, let me answer that, then Ronnie will pick up. Yes, Emmanuel is doing good in terms of understanding the material, because the most important part of Timothy is to understand the material and let it work within yourself before you multiply out. And I've seen Emmanuel growing up. Even when he was interpreting, it was easy for him because he knows the material. And sometimes where there is no phrases in Kirundi, which is in English, he could explain. So that means that he has got the material. But here is the thing. The Pastor Nehemiah, who is in Bujumbura, seems also to be very much impressed with the material and willing to learn and teach. Not only him himself, but he also has one of his Timothy, who is a senior police officer, who is in terms of training a police officer. He is the key person on training police officer. He followed us to our hotel and we went a little talk on the material. So he seemed to be very much interested, and he could just tell us, why did you just come for a few days? We needed this. I would take leave from my work to learn this. So Emmanuel is one, but still we are having several others who seemingly are very positive on the material to be our Timothy.
Does Emmanuel, Ronnie, have his own Timothys?
Yes, I think the first pastors, I think there were about 6 that also attended there. Yes, so he has been working with them. So yeah, he keeps on constantly being with them and working with them. So yes, he has his Timothys.
And what happened at the radio station, Ronnie?
Oh yeah, to the radio station. We went there. I think that was on Sunday, and we had a talk show where we talked about 1 degree off, and the radio station has about an audience of about 60,000. And I think I was told it's the second largest, or the second or first largest Christian radio station. So it was good for us to start up the talk. I think one of the things that they were asking all the host, and that the talk of the week was about revival. How how do we, things are not working out. How do we get back as a church to a place where we see God's presence, we see things working out? And that was a great way for us to teach about 1 degree off. And though what was interesting was the host of the of the program. He had he said he had a PhD in theology or something. He struggled with some basic points, but it was good to see him coming back and understanding that everything is not about us, but it's about God. And when we turn back to God as the key control and the key point of everything, then revival can happen. So it was good as we were getting out, and it was like, you guys, I wish we had a lot of time, and next time you come back, you can let us know earlier so that we can get a longer time.